Rambam. We conclude today the 13th chapter of Mishkav V'Maishav, laws that have to do um, with impurity of someone who is on a emission of fluids, or a woman that gave birth, or a woman who's in a menstrual cycle, right? There's an impurity that's involved, a spiritual impurity. And now that can make impure implements, vessels, different things. So, chapter 13, halacha number 1, when a kohen, a priest, purifies his kelim, his vessels, for the grape pressing season, and then sets them aside for the following grape season, pressing season, is assumed that the status remains unchanged. If it was pure, right? For an unlearned person will not touch the kelim of a kohen when they are his wine press, because he partakes of pure food, right? Because a kohen has to constantly have pure foods. A non-kohen doesn't need to have, kohen is serving in the temple. So if he's going to eat if he's going to eat unpurified foods, it means he'll have to go to the mikvah. There's different things that can be as a result. So an unlearned person, meaning someone who's not, these are very detailed laws, and they don't know these laws well enough. They're not going to touch his grape press, because they know that he needs that as a kohen, and because he has to partake of pure foods, right? So even though he's unlearned, so if an Israelite puts away his kelim in a similar manner by conscience, they're considered impure unless he says, "Within my heart there was a resolve to guard against an unlearned person entering the winepress and touching the kelim." So remember, unlearned person means they're not learning about these laws, so they can sit on a couch that's impure, right? Because one of these four individuals, Zava, Yoledis, and right, so a woman gives birth, or someone's a nida, menstrual cycle, or the man or the woman that have this unnatural kind of flow. So if it's a person who is not careful, they're unlearned, even though they put it away, because no longer the wine season, we're going to consider it impure because someone might have touched it that was impure, right? Just a reminder that this is only necessary because if you're making wine that you want to take to Jerusalem to feast there, well, it's going to be impure, and you can't do that, because when you go to Jerusalem for the festival, your food and you need to be pure. And here there might be spiritual impurities. And these things, as we mentioned, are not applicable today, because we don't have the Holy Temple. So unless this person said, "With my heart, I've resolved to guard that an unlearned person shouldn't enter where the wine press is and touch the vessels," so then it's okay in that instance. When a person desires to make wine that is ritually pure, while using workers who are unlearned, he must make sure that those who harvest the grapes immerse themselves in a mikvah, right? Because impure just means you have to go to the mikvah to become pure, right? It's not like, there's no way around it. You have to go to the ritualarium to become pure. Fine. So he has to make sure that they do that. Similarly, if they were involved in producing oil, they're unlearned. No, even though, right, if they were involved in making oil, he should have those who work in the olive press immerse themselves. He must stand over the workers and have them immerse themselves in his presence so that they are not familiar with the laws of immersion and intervening substances. Because if you go into the mikveh and you have a band-aid on, for example, then it's intervening substance. So he has to make sure that they're doing it properly, right? Again, these are unlearned people who are chaverim, as we learned yesterday, right? Who take upon themselves and they learn these laws. So that's a different story. If the workers left the entrance of the olive press and went outside to defecate, right? They had outdoor outhouses, yeah, behind the fence and return, they're still considered ritually pure. How far may they go to be considered ritually pure? Until they are hidden from the chaver's sight. If, however, they go out of his sight and return to a state of impurity until they them immerse again, and they wait until nightfall. Again, there's nothing wrong with impurity, right? You can eat breakfast impure. Your breakfast can be impure. It's a spiritual impurity. It's only certain holy people want to be that way. Or again, as we've mentioned many times, you go to Jerusalem, you take your second tithes or the truma that a Kohen eats. It has to be pure and be eaten in a state of purity. To become impure, be a very simple thing. He may have touched a pot that was impure, right? Which is okay, except here he wants to make his food in a pure state because, hey, maybe he wants to take it to Jerusalem, or maybe just, wants to be more stringent. So now they returned. They were out of his sight. So maybe they touched something. And they're not doing this purposefully. It's such a mindfulness that you need over here. You sat on a chair simply. That chair is called an implement. And it may be impure, which is fine. Because all it means is if you sat on it, you have to go to the mikveh, right? So if, however, they go out of its sight and return inside of impurity until they immerse themselves again, and they have to wait until nightfall. The awareness, the mindfulness that you need to have with all of this is like, whoa, over the top. Halacha number 3. All right. When the source of impurity is found in the presence of the olive press, workers, and the grape harvesters, if they say we did not touch it, their word is accepted. It was a dead rodent. Touching a dead rodent makes you impure, that you have to go to the mikveh, right? To become pure. But they said they didn't touch it. That's okay, accepted. Because that's a simple thing. Did you touched a pot, not thinking. I went to get a glass of water. Someone went to the bathroom. I went to get a glass of water. That glass might be impure. Didn't think about it. A dead rodent, you're gonna know, that's that's going to be, kind of more obvious. Therefore, the word's going to be accepted. But regular routine things, getting a glass of water. So, unless a person is learned and takes upon themselves, to be very stringent, they're going to be absent-minded, not because they're doing things purposefully. They're just, if they say we did not touch it, the word accept this also applies if their children say we did not touch the wine or the oil. I don't know what that means. Here we're talking about touching here they didn't even touch the wine or the oil because kids are impure. Therefore, for sure, not mindful. The kids. Um, Unfortunately, I have to run.